It was probably the worst time ever for anyone to lose a limb or have anything medically done. I won every dunk competition that I was in, and now I'm trying to relearn how to walk. At first, my prosthetic was mechanical. It was a practice prosthetic, wasn't the best. But then I fought 8 months to get, I can show it, it's called the Genium X3.
Wow.
They use this to redeploy soldiers.
Today's episode is a story of strength and survival as we're joined by Thomas Cheney, athlete and contractor whose life changed in a matter of moments.
Welcome to the CARTI Hopecast, where we explore stories that shape us, journeys of resilience, hope, and perseverance. We seek the lessons that emerge when we face the unexpected and find strength in the struggle.
I'm Adam Head, your host, and today I'm honored to be sitting down with Thomas Cheney. Thomas's journey from athlete and culinary student to amputee and construction worker shows just how far determination can take us. It's a story of grit, rebuilding, and the impact of showing up for others. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the Hopecast.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, before we jump into your story, and we want to get into that, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I know I could probably speak for all of us. We could use a little sunshine in our lives after these last couple of days, but got breath in my lungs and possibility for the future. So no complaints here.
Absolutely. There's a lot of rain right now across the United States. So before we dive into actually what happened to you in 2020, I'd love to start actually a little further back.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about what life looked like for you in sports, school, and some of your early passions?
I've always been an athlete. Growing up, I've always been very active. If you ask my friends, maybe overly active.
Yeah.
Always a hobbyist. After basketball and college basketball, I went into culinary arts college. And so I did that for a while. And after that got done, that transitioned into some harder jobs, always a physically laboring job, moving company. Then I decided to stop working for others. I wanted to work for myself. I opened up a Tees Custom Furniture, a furniture building company. And that kind of transitioned into construction. Doing contracts, fencing, decks, and then that blew up into TMC construction. And so for the last 8 years, have been doing construction work. So
wow.
Try to stay busy.
Man of many talents.
Yeah.
February 29th, 2020 became a day now I know you can look back and say you'll never forget.
Right. Can
you walk us through what happened and then how you processed the aftermath of it all?
February 29th was an unfortunate day for many reasons. It was supposed to be the day of my brother's funeral. He was going through a lot of depression himself, just through life, ended up taking his own life. I had been up all night with one of his friends. There was some drinking involved, and if anyone has lost someone, they know just the deep passion and pain of when you lose someone, the emotional stress. And that night, we had been up till about 3 a.m. just talking. And then I drove home where I shouldn't have and fell asleep. I wear a big size 14 shoe, and it couldn't have just slipped over to the brake, but instead it went to the gas, and I hit a guardrail doing 93 miles an hour. The guardrail shot through the car, hit both my legs, hit the driver's side or passenger side door, and curled back around and missed my whole upper body and went out of the left driver's side window. And I had maybe just a little bit of glass in my hand after, hitting it 93 miles an hour. Car completely crunched together. If there was anyone else in the car, no one would have survived. So I find it just a blessing that I'm here breathing, talking to you today. I don't take any days for granted now.
And this all happened, from a context standpoint, right at the beginning of the pandemic as well.
It was probably the worst time ever for anyone to lose a limb or have anything medically done. I hit the guardrail. I was awake during the whole thing. I just don't remember just because of the trauma. But according to the reports, someone had stopped. They got me out of the vehicle. They must have been drinking too. It was late. They called the ambulance but left before they got there. And when they found me, I had crawled through this mud and all this horrible mud. I was army crawled to the access road, which in turn gave me the infection that caused all the surgeries that happened. After that, going to the hospital, I basically wake up and I don't have a left leg. My right leg is basically gone. There's no function of my foot. And a worldwide pandemic is going on. Mm-hmm. I honestly felt like I woken up in a twilight zone. It was surreal. I was in a lot of pain, so I was under a lot of pain medication. So in the hospital, I was actually doing okay. People were surprised by my good attitude that I had, just given the circumstances of losing a leg and everything. But it wasn't the realization till that what had happened till after I got home. And I left the hospital after 30 days and 34 surgeries. That first day back at the house was when the rude awakening happened, and I realized where my life was at this point and what was going to happen and how dramatically my life had changed. And then it was years of processing and fighting through pain and physical struggle to get to where I'm at today.
You referenced that you went through 34 surgeries in 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty unimaginable for most people. Not only that, but also you mentioned this happened at the beginning of the pandemic. So, things like visitation, other people being along there with you. I mean, that was constrained. And you still had a very difficult stretch, having lost one leg, another one healing. Mm-hmm. And this is all with you being, as you mentioned before, a former basketball player, college basketball player at that. I mean, can you talk about some of that dynamic? I mean, as you're going through that and then thinking back about what you had an opportunity to do before that.
Right. Like I said before, I was a very active person, played high school basketball. I was all-state track, went to Iowa Central to play basketball. I was a post in high school, then wing in college. When I got done with basketball, I actually went into boxing for the next 10 years, did boxing. It was always something extreme sports-wise.
Yeah.
And went into boxing, loved just the aspect of the training and everything. So to go from an extreme athlete like I was, just constantly active and physical, to losing it all in one day, it was a hard thing to process at first. But it was my motivation, because just the idea of walking it was crazy to me that this is where I'm battling now. I used to run a low 11, 100 and do the triple jump, long jump, high jump. I won every dunk competition that I was in, and now I'm trying to relearn how to walk. And that was something that it took a long time to process, but it was really a driving point in my life that, okay, I need to get this prosthetic. No matter what the pain is, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk, and that turned into maybe walking 100 steps before I had to stop, into the next week, walking half a mile and doing, I love to fish. So that was a motivating thing. I had a friend of mine, when I lost my leg, before I even had my prosthetic, they brought me trout fishing at the Little Red, and I didn't care. I was going to get in that boat. I got my crutches, and I went down dirt hills. I got in that boat, and I caught a 16-inch brown trout and limited out that day, and had the best time, was cracking jokes to people going by in the water about my leg. That's just who I am, just trying to keep the spirits high. And everything that I accomplished as far as getting in that boat to my first contract later on, and when I started working again, every single thing that I did was, okay, I can do this. It's something that I did before that I can still now do now that I got my prosthetic. And at first, my prosthetic was mechanical. It wasn't. It was a practice prosthetic wasn't the best, but then I fought 8 months to get, I can show it. It's called the Genium X3.
Wow.
They use this to redeploy soldiers. It's a microprocessor. It's hooked up to my phone. It's waterproof and mud-proof, which is perfect for someone like me who is usually in some water or mud.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And so once I got this prosthetic and found out what I could do, it was just maybe that same driving factor of all the sports that I played, that same thing as for an athlete that drives you to be the best and be better, is I just wanted to get back. I wanted to get my life back.
Yeah.
I want to, I have kids and they depend on me, and failure wasn't an option. It was sit down and curl up and give up, or it's get up and live your life and live it to the fullest.
Well, you returned to work out of necessity long before your body perhaps was ready to be able to take all that on. If you can, talk about what your first job was like and how did it help you start reclaiming, your sense of self, your sense of purpose and actual independence.
I definitely would have loved to have had a little bit more of a time to heal before I had to go back to work, having a fresh amputation, no physical therapy. My doctor said, he said, my prosthetic isn't going to give me the trouble. It's my right leg. And it was all my pain. My right leg is actually still broken. Really? It's not fully grown back together yet. So I've struggled a lot with the right leg healing through these last 5 years. I was in a lot of depression, a lot of pain. Pain pills do something different to you, make you act different.
Yeah.
And then me and my wife would fight and get into it, and it ultimately ended up us separating and her taking the kids away. So then I'm sitting there by myself in the house. Bills have got to be paid. And so I had to jump back into it. I had to get back to work, make money. It was well before I wanted to, but it's what I needed to do for not only for me, but more for my family and for my kids. And so that first job, it was for a friend, painting a room, just simply painting a room, 2 coats of primer, 1 coat of paint, which is still up and down on a ladder quite a bit, especially when you just have a new prosthetic and your leg's broken. It's a challenge just to do it, but it was a challenge that I was willing to tackle. And then after I completed that room, it was like, okay, well, I can do this. Let's see what else I can do. And that turned into a bathroom remodel for another friend, and then laying a whole house of flooring, so around 2,000 square feet of flooring. And then once I advertised that on Facebook, old clients call me, and then I was just basically forced back in it. But I think through the journey and looking back on it now, it's what helped me the most, because I was forced to get up and work, and I got up in the morning. It wasn't so bad, but by the end of the day, I was crawling into my house basically from the pain. It was a lot, but every day that I did it, I got stronger and stronger, and I could do a little bit more and a little bit more. And it was my own physical therapy.
Because you didn't actually do physical therapy, as I understand it, for the first 3 years.
Yeah. The pandemic shut down a lot of stuff. And so I never had any physical therapy at all till about, like you said, 3 years later. And that was actually just after the surgery they used my leg wouldn't grow together. Like I said, it was broken, and that was the trouble. So I had multiple other surgeries on this leg to fix it. And it was that last surgery that afterwards I finally got some physical therapy, and that helped me even more. And since that surgery, I can say that I'm almost pain-free now, just on this leg anyways, and can just do so much more that I could before, and continue to go. So I'm extremely thankful for that.
Well, you've also done some things that many people with 2 legs haven't done. Rock climbing.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and what did it teach you about what's still possible?
It came from a prosthetist of mine, and she just so happened to be a freak athlete when it comes to rock climbing. She's just an exceptional rock climber, and she asked me one day, do you want to go? And me always, like I said, liking extreme sports and being athletic, I took on the challenge and went to Rattlesnake Ridge here in Little Rock, right by Pinnacle. I was surprised that my prosthetist was bringing me down this journey, because just the walk to get to this rock climbing wall was like, you want me to go down there? And but I made it. It was a crazy journey to get there, and they wrote me up, and I didn't know how it was going to go at first. They all had climbing shoes. I brought swimming shoes. I didn't even have the right shoes, so I climbed this rock face wearing swimming shoes, basically my big toe and a lot of upper body strength. And
oh my goodness,
it ended up with a headlamp too. It was at night, and
just another layer,
to add a little bit more to it. And so it's one of those things, just like in life, once my feet left the ground and I was climbing, it was just not look behind me, not look down, just I'm going to make it to the top.
Wow.
And so I just kept climbing, and it got darker and darker, and I was exhausted. I was not in the kind of shape that I should have been to be rock climbing, but that just didn't deter me, and I got to the top of it, and it was just one of those pivotal moments in my life that, and I can do anything that I put my mind to. So can everyone else, that is going through pain and trouble. You're only limited by your own mind, and if you have it in you to reach for the top, I mean, you can make it there.
Well, certainly the things that you have taken on and the difficulty, all the surgeries, certainly inspirational to others, and you've actually been very intentional about helping others who've recently become amputees themselves. Mm-hmm. Why is that so important to you, and how do you approach being the support you once needed?
I feel that it would be selfish of me to not give the knowledge that I have. When I first had my amputation, I didn't have anyone to show me anything about these prosthetics, what I should do, how I should deal with the phantom pain, and all the things that I that you go through as a fresh amputee. There's two types of amputations. There's the people who have diabetes and they can kind of prep and plan, and then there's the people who have just a tragic accident, like I have, a car accident, a farming accident, and when it just happens all of a sudden, you just have no idea where to go. So I have a lot of Facebook amputee groups, and people get on and tell their story. My amputation just happened, and they have these questions, and I enjoy just helping them out. And that's something that I'm so passionate about now, and then want to continue on doing. And some people might say that me losing this leg was a curse, but in my mind, from where I was beforehand, it's a blessing. Just from the way my mind has changed from before the wreck till now, I'm so grateful for every day that's given to me. And we lose track of what's important in life. We get so busy in this world with, we need this new thing or we need this amount of money, without being just content with what we have and our family and our loved ones. And in the mind frame that I have now, I wouldn't trade. I would give both my legs to have the mind frame that I have right now.
Well, speaking of, you said you're not the same person that you were before the accident.
Right.
In what specific ways have you changed, and what are some of the things maybe that you've gained that you never would have expected when you think back those 5 years ago and the tragedy that you faced?
Before the wreck, it was a lot about, oh man, I need to get this business ready. I need to make all this money for my business, and I need to get this much money, and I need this thing. And you lose track of what's just right there in front of you. Family, friends, people that are hurting around you. You're so busy with your own problems. you can't see clearly to help those that are around you, that are right in front of you, even people that you love that are close, depressed. That's why we talked about my brother earlier committing suicide, and you have to be aware of the people around you and what they're going through. And then you have to have the enough courage to reach out to them and say, hey man, I'm here for you. I love you. No matter, I know that you're going through so much pain and you're going through all these things, but you have people out here that love you and care about you and will do anything to help you out. And these are the type of changes mentally that I've had through this whole experience, is maybe just losing some of my self-interest and just being more passionate about spreading love and care and for everyone else that's around me and the problems that they're going through. And in turn, that's been such a blessing for me. If someone's going through something mentally, physically, emotionally, I would encourage them to try to help someone, because if there's been anything that's helped me out the most through this journey, it's been helping other people and, that can relate to the pain that I'm going through.
We've also raised your kids through all this. They've watched Dad face the unimaginable, navigating pain, financial pressure, the healing journey that you've been on. How's your experience shaped the kind of father that you are today?
I've always prided myself on being a good father. I love my kids. They're my life. My oldest son is 15, and he plays basketball. He loves his New Year's resolutions were to make the high school basketball team, get closer to God, be a better person, and I just couldn't be more proud of him as who he is. He's just such a good kid, and way different than me at maybe 15 years old. And I couldn't be more proud of them. I have 3 girls, Ella, Eden, and Ember. And they're my heart. The girls wrap their fingers around a father and they just take control with pocketbooks and everything. So they've been my motivation this whole time. I love to help people, but it's either curl up and be depressed and, because they don't understand that. People don't understand your pain. It's something that I've learned is your loved ones around you don't understand the pain that you're going through, and you desperately want them to. You want them to understand, man, I'm hurting so bad, but they can't. They just don't understand. And so you can either be depressed and bring everyone down around you, or you can rise above that depression and live your life and be the example you need to be, for not only do it for yourself, but for my kids and for the people that are around you. And that's exactly was my motivation, my kids. I wasn't going to sit down and be depressed and be angry. I was going to show them, with the right mindset, you can do anything. All things are possible.
Thomas, we really appreciate you sharing your story today, being so transparent. I know for many people who may be listening to this podcast, who may be facing their own tragedy, their own unimaginable circumstance, what would you want them to know? What would you want them to hear?
It's very easy to drown in sorrows and in your own pain and what's going on in your life, regardless of what it is. But if I were to tell someone whose pain is pain, and whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, is to look towards the future, that you don't have to be stuck in the past and what's happened to you, what you're going through, that there's hope in the future. There's people out there willing to help you. There's people out there willing to show you so much love and guide you through. You just have to be open and acceptive and willing to receive it, and to just not be scared to step out of your comfort zone. It's so easy to just sit at home and sit on the couch and not be motivated and drown in your sorrows, and that's just a pit. You hit rock bottom, and I'm someone who's set up campground on rock bottom many times in my life, so I know it. And when you hit rock bottom, the good thing about that is there's only one way to go, and that's up. And so you have to just make that choice to, like the rock climbing, you just have to start climbing. And then once you do, it's just one rock climbing after another, one step forward, and to just keep moving forward and to not give up.
Thomas Cheney, we appreciate you sharing your story today on the Hopecast.
It's no problem. Thank you for having me.